From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, this is Weather Weeklies, an informative video blog on the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The thoughts and opinions in this video are those of the forecaster alone and may or may not reflect the thoughts of the EPAWA staff as a whole, nor its constituents. Now, without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, January 14th. I'm meteorologist Bobby Martrich. We're going to go through the next couple of weeks and take a look into the month of February in this video. I almost didn't do this video because last night I didn't think I was going to, because last night I was watching the Philadelphia Eagles take down the Atlanta Falcons and lost my voice last evening. So I was like, uh-oh. Or my wife said to me, uh-oh, you're not going to be able to do your video tomorrow morning. You better calm down. And I did lose my voice last night, not listening to her, of course. And this morning, miraculously, it came back. So I do have my voice this morning, a little froggy, but I think I should manage through this video. We are going to take a look at the long range here through the month of February. This is our latest long range chart that we did on Friday. Now, there was some confusion with this cold period that we have right now, the one that's currently over top of us. All right, now it's so warm Thursday and Friday. And people were starting to mistake what was going on last week as being the January thaw period that we were referring to and many others were referring to. At least from our standpoint, that was not what we were talking about. We still have this period of January thaw looming. Okay? Still looming. Did not reach it yet. The 20th is when we're expecting that to come in, which is this next weekend. Okay, this slightly below average period, or maybe you can even call it below. I don't want to argue, never play the semantics game. Slightly below or below average, between the 13th and 18th. That will go through Thursday. We see some moderation back to near average on Friday. The 20th is Saturday. 20th and beyond, we are going to be above average, and that January thaw period is going to settle in. Now, it doesn't mean 60s. We're not getting back to like we were on Friday. What happened with that is you had a system cutting to our west, and you had synoptically driven warmth pulled out ahead of the system that allowed it to be so warm, okay? That's all that was. It had nothing to do with this thaw period. When you're talking about a January thaw, you're talking about a prolonged period of above average temperatures. Now, that could be normal average. Normal highs right now are about 35, 38, something like that. That could mean temperatures just in the mid-40s for a week or two, okay? It doesn't mean it has to be 60s. You might have some warmer bursts within that, but the overall theme during that period of the January thaw period is that you're not going to get too near or below average temperature during that stretch. It's going to be this is not a transient shot of warmth, in other words. Okay, so that is still looming. And then I think we have a transition week here, that 29th to 4th period. I think it might hang on to maybe the 29th, 30th. Once again in February, we start having that transition where you go up and down. And then once we get past the Super Bowl, which is the 4th, this week after, we're getting back to near to slightly below average temperatures, and we're going to have the risk for snow come back again. I don't think we're going to have too many after this Tuesday, which we'll get into this video. That's this little snow shower deal that we have listed here. After that passes, the rest of the month is not looking very good. Not impossible to get snow, but not looking good. Odds are against it. But once we get back to this period right here, we start seeing an increase in those snow chances. And February looks like it's going to be a very wild precipitation month. So it could be something we're dealing with, maybe not necessarily this week, but sometime in the month of February, we have the opportunity for something bigger instead of this nickel and dime nonsense we've been dealing with for most of the winter. Okay? And we did change our February outlook to now show near to slightly above average temperatures instead of +2 to +4 like it was last week. It's now 0 to +1. That's a large part because some of these climate models that we were not able to see when we did the outlook last week have now come in, and they're now suggesting a colder outlook for February than our analog suggested in the winter outlook. Okay, so we did lower that. And we also have, they also show the February precipitation is going to be above average. It's going to be a pretty active month as far as precipitation goes. Now, when it says precipitation, it doesn't necessarily mean snow. It could be rain too. I think you're going to get a mix of both rain and snowstorms in February, but they carry a bigger potential because you have more moisture to work with. That's the idea. So also February snowfall, we changed from below average to near to slightly above average. So that's a big change there too. Again, those climate models, once they come in around the 8th of the month, we can start looking at them and and have a better idea of where they're trending. And we didn't have that information. We had the outlook out last week. So that's why the difference. Okay, let's take a look at the past event real quick. This is what we put out This is for that rain changing to ice and then snow. This worked out exactly what we projected. Okay. Now the reason I'm not showing you this because we're like, haha, good, we did great again. The whole idea is, before these events, we get a lot of comments on the Facebook page, on Twitter, on whatever. So and so saying this. Why are they different? You know what? We have our own forecasting agency. Okay. And we get comments like, why does my phone app say 6 to 12 inches next Tuesday and you guys are saying nothing? When has it ever worked out? When has your app on your phone ever worked out this winter, showing 6 to 12 inches a week away? Or so and so from X forecasting agency says that we're going to get, I live up here in Scranton, we're going to get 3 to 6 inches of snow. You guys only have less than an inch. Well, less than an inch fell up here. So at what point are you going to stop looking at other sources and challenging our forecasts? And I'm not saying any of you in particular are listening, just in general. We get a ton of these. And I mean, not aside from the part that is really disrespectful that you're quoting another source on our business page. I mean, that's disrespectful in of itself. But, if they're different, why don't you ask them? Why don't you ask them their reasoning? We provide reasoning of why we have this. We don't just put this map up here and say, here we go. There you go. Have fun. We put a long, detailed explanation on all these weather alert map pages. Whether people choose to read them or not is another thing. But we back up our forecasts of the hows and whys. It says right there why we have all this. Ask that of these sources, these TV guys. These TV guys give you an explanation like that? Are they going to back up their forecast like that? Or are they going to throw a map up there and say, oh, 3 to 6 inches up in Scranton? Oh, okay. You can't always go with the most aggressive call or the one that suits you best if you want snow. And, Eastern PA Weather Authority only has, coating to an inch. Well, they're wrong. Well, no, we were not wrong. We haven't been wrong all year. So at some point, same thing with these long ranges. We get challenged on this all the time. Well, when has the long range been wrong this year? You can't challenge something, just because you don't like it, or somebody else says different, and there you happen to like their outlook better. When you got to compare apples to apples, and at some point you have to do like your own independent case study and say, hey, who's been right, who's been wrong? All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so we get another cold shot coming this week. I just had to say that because that kind of irritates me. It really gets to me. So when we get these comments on the Facebook page from now on, why are you guys different from X source? Or I'm just going to ignore them. I'm going to delete the comments. I'm going to ignore it. Okay, because we don't have time for that. What do we have left to prove, really? Another cold shot this week coming, and this is what we have right now. It's going to last again through Thursday of this week, and then we turn around to that January thaw period. Here is a look at next weekend. You can see very above average temperatures that are going to be settling over the region, and again, that's next weekend. It'll feel much different next weekend than it did this weekend, of course, because it's going to be feel a lot warmer. And that January thaw is going to continue. This is now looking at the 28th. That's going to continue. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be exceptional warmth over our area, but this is still above average right in this area. It's all above average. The below average is going to be out here. All right, so this is all above average temperatures right here. And that's going to continue through at least the end of the month, we think, and maybe part of the very beginning of February before we have any of that transition like we talked about here in the chart. But I do think we're going to turn around in February in a big way, and the climate models are certainly suggesting that. Now, we do have this little map right here is a little deceiving. It looks like we got this is ongoing from what happened Saturday straight through Thursday this week, but this is actually a reloading. This is coming in 2 waves. What's over us now was behind our system that we had that was that big rainstorm that changed to sleet and then maybe interior snows. So this is right now Sunday. This is now what's left behind that one. All right, then it's going to moderate a little bit. It's going to moderate a little bit on Monday and a little bit Tuesday while that snow is going on, which we'll get into in a second. This is the shot behind that clipper system. This is the second shot of cold, and that's going to come in behind that system on Tuesday and stick with us for Wednesday and Thursday. So that's all that does. It's just a reinforcing shot that's going to come. So it actually came in 2 waves, not just one in this current cold shot, even though we have that whole period between the 18th and the 23rd. Not the 18th, 23rd. I'm sorry. The whole period between the 13th and 18th as being below average is actually 2 separate waves. associated with that. And here's that system on Tuesday. All this is, folks, is a system over the Eastern Great Lakes. It's a cutoff upper level low. You have a surface low feature like this is going to drag a cold front back here. Here's the cold front. And you have some snow showers out ahead of the cold front. That's all. That's all it is. You have another little piece of energy that was offshore that was speculated that, hey, maybe this will come up and, you know, really blow up and give us a big snowstorm in eastern areas. Well, all this will do is maybe slow this front up a little bit as this low starts. This front is going to slow down a little bit, and that's as a result of what's going on in the upper levels, where the trough is turning from positive to trying to turn more neutral at this time. So here is a look at Tuesday morning. Here is Tuesday afternoon. The front really doesn't move much. You still got some really light stuff going on at this point. And then here is overnight, Tuesday night, probably late evening. Maybe a few snow showers in far southeastern areas. Here's that low trying to take shape offshore, but it's obviously too far east, too late. So nothing happens with that coastal here on Tuesday in the Tuesday-Wednesday time frame. So what do we get out of this? This is what the NAM projects. This is the latest NAM that just came out. Now, we don't have anything out officially yet. We will probably have something out later today unless all these models, you know, take a dump and go somewhere else and really have nothing to make a map with. But right now, the NAM is suggesting this entire area right in here is a 1 to 3 inch snowfall. A little less toward the shore, maybe decoding to 1 inch down here in this area. Okay, these are coding to 1 inch areas. Same thing up here. But within this circle, you know, that's all 1 to 3 inches. All right, so it's not going to be a lot of snow, but it's persistent light snow that we're talking about in these areas, and that would allow for at least some minor accumulations here on Tuesday. Now, again, there's some difference in position of this. The GFS is a little bit further southeast than this with the axis of precipitation, so you can bring that down to the southeast and just expand it southeast on the GFS. The Canadian is more like this area up here, and that's it. Not anywhere else. So it's kind of like similar to the NAM in that respect, but it continues it up here in New England also. And the European model is just a narrow corridor just northwest of and along I-95. So there's a lot of things to work out as far as positioning yet, but I think the general idea here of 1 to 3 inches is going to be what goes on here on Tuesday. And that's going to be your last system again for a while, because the next systems we're talking about are rain. These are warm systems. This is looking at the 22nd now, Monday the 22nd. All right, but we're probably going to have a rain system coming in here. There's going to be warmth out ahead of this, too. Okay, so not really anything wintry that we're expecting out of this one, because we're going to be in a different kind of pattern that's going to allow us to be much warmer. Again, those warmer risks are from the 20th onward, and a lot of that is predicated on the Matt and Julian oscillation going from these colder phases of phase 3. You see that right here. These are the colder phases we're in right now. Okay, and that's right here. And then we're going to go into where it's going to go for the Indian Ocean. The best tropical convection is going to propagate from the Indian Ocean to the maritime continent. Well, if you're talking about the maritime continent, that's phase 4 and phase 5. Look at these. Look at the looks here. These are warmer phases. And lo and behold, in this period here, we're talking about warmer temperatures expected. And then it's eventually going to make it into phase 6 and 7. It's going to keep going around the horn here. Phase 6 is also warm. Phase 7, not so much. It's starting to get closer to average again. So this is probably during that beginning part of February right in here. This is the beginning part of February. Again, this only goes until the 28th of January if you're looking at this chart. So presumably, the 28th of January, you're up here somewhere. Okay, so, you know, beginning of February, first couple days of February up until the Super Bowl, you're into phase 7. Maybe you get into phase 7, phase 8, which looks a little different. All right, and that is as we head into the month of February. So into tropical force, of course, is what leads to a lot of these warm shots. Some people are telling us right now, I'm hearing out there that, well, the Matt and Julian oscillation really isn't playing a part right now. It's not really matching up, blah, 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 blah. You still have warm risks here when it's going through these phases. Maybe it might not be constant warmth, okay? But your overall theme here is going through these phases is you have a lot higher chance at warmer risks than you do colder. And that's why we think we're not going to have a lot of precipitation or a lot of snow once we get past this Tuesday, which isn't much to begin with. So below average temperatures remain through at least Thursday this week, milder next weekend onward. I'm sorry. So we can get to Saturday next week. we start getting into the 40s and start warming up. Light snow and snow showers. Tuesday provides minor accumulations for some. We will have a weather alert maps for our first call out later today, probably this evening, if warranted. I'm not guaranteeing that, but if we do need one, which I think we probably do, but you never know. It'll be this evening. We'll have our first call out for that. Unless it's just showing like, you know, an inch across the entire area on these maps, then I'm not gonna do a first call, second call, or first call, final call. We'll just do a final call on Monday instead. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. January thaw period arrives around the 20th and largely dominates the rest of January, but winter is expected to make a return the week after the Super Bowl, which is February 4th. So I still think we're holding on to that idea, and we will return to stormier, colder, snowier in February. We do have those risks coming, backed up by the climate models that just came in within this past week also. But we're going to take a little bit of a sabbatical in between. Between Tuesday is your last shot of a cold. When you get to a couple cold days after that. After that, you're not going to see cold for a little bit, so you're going to be dealing with more wet systems than white going forward through probably the first couple days of February. Again, the premium forum is where we're discussing all this stuff in advance. You can still get in on that. We're going to take down the seasonal options of the weather alerts because now we're now at the middle point of winter, so we can't really have people paying for an entire winter's worth of text alerts. We're only going to get half a winter. I don't know if we're going to do. If we're just going to stick to the monthly stuff that we do year round, or maybe just cut the prices in half of what we're doing and give a half off discount. We'll see. We're going to discuss that through with our staff. I haven't decided what we're doing there yet, but the winter alerts are going to be coming down. The winter weather alerts for 1 county or 2 county, $29.99, $39.99 are going to be discontinued since we're already starting to reach the second half of the winter beginning tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at this again next Sunday and see where we're at. And another edition of Weather Weeklies for that period will be released. And right now, we're just going to be discussing anything going on for this system, this little light system that we're talking about for snow and snow showers on Tuesday. We're talking about in the forum now. The map will be released there first if we need it today, and will be publicly later this afternoon or evening. It's probably going to be around 5 if we do something. Okay, and again, we'll alert you on the Facebook page if that does, in fact, need to be released, and that would be on the Weather Alerts page around 5 p.m. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marchus. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, January 14th. Hope to join us again next week for another update.